The shocking truth about perception loops. Your brain edits reality in real time, and the edit feels true, even when it's not. The thing most people miss is this. Perception isn't a camera feed. It's a construction your mind assembles on the fly. In the next few minutes, I'll decode the quantum glitch idea using attention, prediction, and observer effects, no fluff. You'll learn how your mind lies, how it rewires memory, and how to see through it daily. And there's one technique later that instantly exposes a live brain glitch you can't unsee. Once you catch it, you'll start noticing the edits everywhere, especially in conversations. What we mean by quantum glitch, concept clarified. Let's clean this up without killing the wonder. Quantum gets thrown around like confetti, and honestly, it confuses people. Here, we're not claiming your brain is running on spooky particles, or that your thoughts bend electrons across the room. We're using quantum as a mental model, observer-dependent outcomes. In physics, some measurements depend on how you look. In cognition, your attention and expectations play a similar role. What you look for changes what you get. That's the glitch, the subtle misread that feels perfectly accurate. Think of your brain less like a camera and more like a prediction machine. It's constantly guessing what's out there, then comparing those guesses to the trickle of sensory data arriving late and noisy. Attention works like measurement. It sets what counts as signal, what gets suppressed as noise, and when you lock in an interpretation. Experience is the collapse, from many plausible meanings to one lived story in this moment. Here's the part most people miss. Uncertainty lives in your perception until you look with intent. Before you commit attention, your mind holds multiple possible passes of a scene. Faces in the crowd, motives in a text message, sounds in a noisy room. The instant you aim your focus, you boost the precision of one interpretation and dampen the others. It doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like reality clarified. But you didn't reveal the truth. You selected a truthy candidate. And then memory backfills confidence. After you experience the chosen version, your brain stores a narrative that explains it. When you recall it later, the story feels obvious, inevitable, and crisp. That sense of certainty is part of the glitch. Confidence is an emotion, not a quality metric. The edit becomes what happened, and your future predictions lean on that edit, making the loop tighter. So let's set guardrails. Respect physics. We're not saying attention collapses wave functions in your skull. We're mapping cognitive observer effects, how mental measurement changes mind-made outcomes. The brain uses plausible shortcuts to stay efficient. Most of the time, those shortcuts are brilliant. Sometimes they're costly, misread intentions, stubborn beliefs, spirals of anxiety that seem data-driven but start as top-down guesses. The working model is simple and practical. Brain equals prediction machine. Attention equals measurement. Experience equals collapse of many possibilities into one workable interpretation. Once you see through this lens, your everyday life starts to make sense in new ways. Why two people can sit in the same meeting and walk out convinced of different realities. Why a song lyric finally clicks only when you read the words. Why a terse text stings until you widen context and reread. The reason this matters is impact. If you collapse the wrong possibility, say, they're ignoring me instead of they're overwhelmed, your physiology follows the story. Heart rate up, tone sharp, microbehaviors shift. Now the other person reads you as abrupt, and their response confirms your initial read. That's a feedback loop. The glitch isn't abstract. It shapes your day, your relationships, and your sense of self. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Treat attention like a precision dial. When you aim it narrowly, you get speed, but risk premature closure. When you broaden it, you regain uncertainty, but reopen better options. Neither is morally superior. Each has a cost profile. The skill is matching the dial to the stakes. Actually, let me back up and make the idea tangible. Think of your experience as a storyboard with missing frames. Your brain fills the gaps so the movie runs smoothly. That's efficient, and it's where edits sneak in. Once an interpretation is chosen, the brain commits to it just enough to move you forward. Later, recall stitches in context and emotion, making the story feel seamless. Seamless doesn't equal accurate. If you remember nothing else from this section, remember this. What feels like seeing is often believing, then seeing. Your prior assumptions shape which bits of the world get high-resolution treatment. Your attention finalizes the take. Your memory secures the edit. That trio keeps you functional and can also lead you astray. So where do we go from? Here? Keep the wonder, ditch the woo. Use the observer idea as a tool to catch the moment you're about to collapse too fast. Ask, what else could this be? And watch how instantly your experience loosens. Coming up, we'll map how the prediction machinery actually runs under the hood, why top-down signals often beat raw input, how errors update the model, and the quick win that lets you catch your brain's autocomplete in real time. Once you feel that, attention becomes your steering wheel. The brain's core trick, prediction over perception, active inference. Here's why this matters for your daily life. When prediction outruns perception, you don't just misread moments. You steer your nervous system into stress, overconfidence, or confusion. Most anxiety spikes aren't driven by raw data. They're kicked off by a top-down guess that your body treats as fact. Do this on repeat, and you build a life around misfires. The thing most people miss is that your brain's first job isn't accuracy, it's efficiency. Sensory data is slow and noisy. So your brain generates a best guess about what should be coming next, and only spends precious energy correcting that guess when reality pushes back. That's active inference. Predict, compare, minimize error, repeat. Think of perception as a storyboard, not a photograph. Your brain sketches the scene in broad strokes from memory and context, then fills missing details if something doesn't fit. It's like AI upscaling a low-res image, convincing, fast, and sometimes wrong in plausible ways. When the guess is good, you glide. When it's off, you still feel certainty because the story is smooth. Under the hood, 3 levers drive this: priors, precision weighting, and prediction error. Priors are your learned expectations, how you think the world usually behaves. Precision weighting is your brain's estimate of which sources are trustworthy right now, internal models or incoming data. Prediction error is the signal that says, your guess didn't match what arrived, update something. Now here's where most people mess up. They assume more data automatically fixes bad perception. It doesn't if the precision dial is set to trust your prior more than the senses. In a loud bar, your brain fills in words you didn't fully hear. You're not lying, you're auto-completing. The same thing happens in arguments, meetings, even text messages. The prior stands unless the error signal gets enough weight to force a change. This clicked for me when I noticed the half-second lag in chaotic environments. In a noisy room, your brain delays conscious awareness just enough to stitch coherent speech together. That extra beat lets the model fill gaps, so you feel like you heard every word. Quick win. Next time you're in noise, watch how your understanding arrives as chunks, not an unbroken stream. You'll feel the autocomplete in action. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Control the precision before you control the content. If you treat your current story as 95% certain, you'll ignore small errors. If you drop it to 60%, you'll notice mismatches sooner and ask better questions. That's not being indecisive. It's calibrating your measurement to the ambiguity of the moment. A common mistake is treating, I saw it, as it happened. Eyewitnesses often report vivid, coherent scenes that never occurred because their brains smoothed chaos into a narrative. Vividness is a function of the model's confidence, not the world's truth. Confidence feels good and can still be wrong. Before we continue, you need to understand that prediction error isn't a failure, it's the update engine. When you catch a mismatch, you have 2 choices: change your interpretation or downplay the error. Under stress, we downplay errors, harden the prior, and get premature closure. The result is false certainty that escalates conflict. Let me show you exactly how this plays out at work. You send a message. No response for 3 hours. Your prior says they're upset. Precision weights your internal narrative as high, incoming data as low. Every minute without a reply becomes evidence, even though silence is ambiguous. The error signal, no confirming sign of anger, gets suppressed. By the time they respond with just stepped into meetings, you're already activated. If instead you had set your prior to medium precision and asked, what else could explain the delay? Your body state would have stayed stable. The reason this works is your physiology listens to predictions. If your model forecasts threat, your heart rate, breathing, and muscle tone adjust before confirming data arrives. That's useful in a forest, messy and slack. Your goal isn't to kill prediction. It's to make it just accurate enough and quick to update. Once you nail that, everything else clicks. You start noticing how your brain autocolors ambiguous stimuli. A glance you interpret as judgment, a tone you read as sarcasm, a gap you label rejection. These are guesses posing as facts. The fix is not to distrust everything. It's to build a lightweight loop. Predict, check for error, update if needed, move on. Here's a practical drill. For the next week, when you feel a spike, annoyance, worry, certainty, say this silently. Provisional. Then ask one clarifying question, or seek one disconfirming cue. You're not debating yourself. You're increasing the precision of incoming data, so your model can recalibrate. 10 seconds, huge payoff. Now, you might be thinking, isn't this exhausting? It's not when you make it situational. Most of your day runs fine on autopilot. You only dial up this loop when stakes or ambiguity rise. That selective effort saves you from hours of cleanup from one bad collapse. The game changer nobody talks about is that attention is the steering wheel for precision. Aim it narrowly, and you get fast, confident stories with higher risk of error. Widen it, and you tolerate uncertainty long enough to gather better signals. Up next, we'll turn that steering wheel and show how attention acts like measurement, how it collapses ambiguity, binds features into objects, and makes some realities vanish from experience the moment you stop looking. Attention as measurement, collapsing ambiguity. Attention decides which possibility becomes your lived reality in that moment. That's not poetry, it's mechanics. You've got multiple interpretations competing under the surface. When you aim attention, you boost the precision of one channel and suppress the rest. The story tightens. The world seems to sharpen. But clarity is selective. What you enhance, you experience. What you mute, you effectively delete. Think of attention like a spotlight on a dark stage. Wherever the beam lands, detail pops. Outside the cone, things still exist, but they don't contribute to the scene you experience. That's selective attention. It's powerful because it reduces uncertainty fast. It's risky because it hides alternatives just as fast. Here's the thing most people miss. Attention doesn't only highlight content. It changes how signals bind together. Feature binding is your brain's trick for gluing color, shape, motion, and location into a single object. With the right focus, separate features fuse into cup, face, or threat. When attention drifts, binding loosens. That's why, in chaotic contexts, you misattribute a comment to the wrong person or hear a tone that wasn't meant for you. The parts were there, the binding was off. Now, the famous gorilla example drives this home. You count ball passes between players in white shirts. You're accurate on the count. Meanwhile, a person in a gorilla suit walks through the scene, pounds their chest, and half of viewers never notice. The gorilla existed. The camera recorded it. But your attention didn't allocate precision to unexpected primate. So your experience didn't include it. That's inattentional blindness. Not a moral failing, a measurement choice. In lab terms, this sits alongside feature binding errors and change blindness. Classic effects showing that what you don't measure with attention won't assemble into conscious experience. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in daily conversation. You're mid-call, listening for agreement. Your attention weights nods and arm as high-precision signals. Meanwhile, subtle head tilts or delayed pauses get suppressed. You end the call convinced you're aligned. 2 hours later, the email lands. Let's revisit scope. The signals were present. You didn't measure them. Once you see this, it's not about blame. It's about better measurement. Quick one you can try today. The shift gaze test. Mid-conversation, move your focus from the person's words to their breathing for 2 sentences, then to their hands for 2 sentences, then to the room's ambient sounds for 2. Feel how the meaning of what's happening reconfigures on the fly. Same conversation, different lived reality, because the measurement shifted. This teaches you that attention isn't just seeing more, it's deciding what counts. Before we continue, you need to understand how attention sets precision. When you decide something matters, status cues, threats, kindness, your brain boosts gain on those channels. Competing inputs drop below awareness. Under fatigue, your spotlight tightens, you tunnel. Under safety, it widens, you integrate more context. So if you're stressed, your measurement naturally favors swift, protective interpretations. Good for danger, rough for nuanced talks. Now here's where most people mess up. They treat distraction like a moral failure instead of a drift in measurement. You didn't lose willpower. Your system reallocated precision because something new signaled relevance. The useful question isn't, why am I weak? It's, what did my attention decide was more precise right now? And do I agree with that choice? Try a micro drill. When you catch yourself locking onto one interpretation, say, they're bored. Run a 3-frame sweep. Eyes voice. Context. Eyes. Are they scanning notes or the door? Voice. Pace, tone, emphasis. What's the pattern? Context, time pressure, recent messages, competing priorities. This quick triad redistributes precision, so you don't collapse too soon. The game changer nobody talks about is attention's cost profile. Narrow focus increases speed and commitment, but raises the chance of missing weak but important signals. Wide focus increases accuracy in ambiguous environments, but slows action. Pros switch modes on purpose. You can too. Decision mode, narrow for 60 seconds, then check mode, widen for 20 seconds, then act. Actually, let me back up and offer a map you can remember. AIM, amplify, ignore, merge. Attention amplifies chosen signals, ignores competing ones, and merges features into objects or stories. If you remember nothing else, remember AIM. Use it to ask, what am I amplifying? What am I ignoring? What am I merging into a single meaning? Once you nail that, everything else clicks. Beliefs start to show up as preloaded settings for your spotlight, and memory reveals itself as the record of whatever the spotlight lit. Next, we'll watch how those beliefs quietly load the dice before attention even hits the scene. Belief as a prior. How stories bend reality. Here's why beliefs matter. Strong priors don't sit in your head like opinions. They bias what gets measured. They hijack attention's precision dial before the scene even starts. If your story is "people let me down," your system spotlights microsignals of withdrawal and mutes cues of care. The day feels colder, not because it is, but because that's the version you funded. The thing most people miss is that confirmation bias isn't a character flaw. It's an energy-saving feature. Your brain prefers evidence that fits the story because updates are metabolically expensive. Expectancy effects go further. When you anticipate strain, you subtly behave in ways that produce it. Tight voice, guarded posture, clipped replies. Others tense up in response. See? I knew it. The prophecy keeps fulfilling itself. Let me show you exactly how belief changes the math. Remember precision weighting? A belief raises the precision on predicted signals. That means faint hints that match your story get amplified, while loud but disconfirming data gets discounted as noise, exception, or doesn't count. You aren't lying, you're reallocating trust. Two people, same room, different highlights. Belief is the pre-edit. Microstory time. A student once told me, "I'm awkward, so people avoid me." We didn't argue the label. We changed the prior to "I'm curious." Same body, same room, new measurement. Curiosity pushes attention outward. Questions, listening, noticing name tags and common ground. Conversations lasted longer. The social data collapsed differently because the prior made approach more precise than avoidance. After a week, their evidence changed. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Beliefs are hypotheses, not identities. Treat them as best so far models, and they'll update. Treat them as selfhood, and they harden into armor. The cost of armor is mobility. You protect the story and lose the chance to steer. Quick win you can use today. Run the anti-prior loop. Before deciding, collect 3 disconfirming observations. Not debates, observations. If you think my boss dislikes me, find 3 recent moments that don't fit. Neutral tone in a check-in, timely approval, forwarding your work with praise. You're not erasing discomfort. You're lowering the prior's precision enough to let reality vote. Now here's where most people mess up. They confuse belief strength with truth strength. The felt intensity of a story comes from repetition and emotional tagging, not accuracy. High arousal experiences stamp a narrative with important, and that tag gets mistaken for true. Under stress, you'll reach for the most heavily tagged story because it promises speed. That's useful in emergencies and costly in relationships. Actually, let me back up and give you a mental model you can carry. Bias. Belief instructs attention settings. Your belief instructs which channels get gain, which get gatekeeping, and which features will be merged into a single meaning. Use bias as a check. What instruction is my belief sending to my attention right now, and do I want that? The reason this works is simple. Priors shape microbehaviors long before words start. Your face sets in subtle ways. Your timing shifts by half a beat. Your questions tilt. Other people aren't reading your mind. They're reading your signals. Your belief creates the climate. The climate produces the weather you then report as fact. A quick micro-experiment you can run this week. Reframe one sticky belief about a person from trait to state. Swap "they're disrespectful" for "they're overloaded today." Hold it as a provisional prior for one conversation. Watch how your attention redistributes precision. You'll notice task switching. Delayed breath. pile-ups on their calendar. You'll ask a clarifying question instead of delivering a verdict. Often the response you get is kinder than the one you braced for. Before we continue, a guardrail. Don't use reframing to excuse harm or gaslight yourself. The ethical move is truth-seeking, not comfort-seeking. When in doubt, verify externally. Timestamps, third-party notes, written agreements. Beliefs should face reality checks. If the check fails, update the prior, not the facts. The game changer nobody talks about is belief granularity. Global beliefs. People are X. Overfit and mislead. Contextual priors. Under deadline, Alex gets terse. Predict better and update faster. Make your priors smaller so they can be smarter. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Stories bend reality by preloading your measurement. You live the version you fund with precision. Lower the precision a notch, widen the sample, and a different world appears. Next, we'll see how memory secures the edit, why your brain turns today's best guess into yesterday's certainty, and how to anchor raw data before the story hardens. Memory's dirty trick, post-event editing. Memory feels like playback. It isn't. It's a reconstruction your brain rebuilds on demand, guided by gist, emotion, and the story that currently makes the most sense. That's why two people can leave the same dinner and remember different evenings with total confidence. Confidence is not a quality metric. It's an emotion that says, this story fits my model. Here's why this matters. If you think memory is a video archive, you'll fight over details that never existed in the way you think. You'll double down on, I remember exactly what you said, when what you stored was the vibe, not the transcript. Your nervous system then treats that reconstructed scene as fresh data, tightening your priors for next time. The loop hardens. The thing most people miss is the split between gist and detail. Gist is the meaning, the headline, the moral, the felt takeaway. Detail is the specifics, wording, timing, sequence. Under load, your brain saves the gist and compresses the rest. Later, when you recall, you reinflate from gist, pulling in plausible details to make the story coherent. It feels seamless because coherence is the goal of reconstruction. Now here's where suggestion sneaks in. Each recall is also a rewrite. Whatever cues are present while you remember, someone's tone, a leading question, a photo, your current mood, can splice into the memory trace. The next time you recall it, those splices feel original. You're not fabricating on purpose. You're integrating cues to minimize cognitive dissonance. The cost is accuracy. Psychologists call this the misinformation effect. New inputs slipped in after an event can alter what you remember about the event itself. Emotional arousal makes this stronger. High arousal tags a memory with salience, so you remember the heat vividly. But salience favors the story arc over the messy specifics. You'll swear the argument lasted an hour when it was 8 minutes because the intensity stretched subjective time. You'll recall, you always dismiss me, as if it were verbatim because the line matches the gist. The details morph to fit the theme. Let me show you exactly how this plays out. Two partners argue. One says a clumsy phrase. The other's system spikes. Later, they both retell the event. Partner A remembers a single careless sentence amplified by shame. The brain overwrites surrounding context to justify the sting. Partner B remembers the lead-up frustrations and trims the sentence down, minimizing impact. Both are reconstructing from different priors and states. Neither is lying, both are editing. Quick win. Event journaling before sleep. Capture raw data while it's still fresh. Write 2 columns, facts and feelings. Facts. Observable items anyone could verify. Time, place, exact phrases if you can, who entered, who left. Feelings. Your state, interpretations, motives you guessed. Keep it brief, 3 to 6 lines each. This anchors sensory scaffolding before your brain consolidates the gist and smooths the edges overnight. Actually, let me back up and give you a test you can run. After a heated interaction, wait an hour, then write 3 timestamps and 1 quote you think was exact. The next day, compare with any objective trace, messages, calendar entries, someone else's notes. Count mismatches without self-judgment. The goal isn't to prove you wrong, it's to calibrate your confidence dial. You'll start to feel where your memory is crisp and where it's impressionistic. Common mistake: trusting the sharpness of the memory's image as proof of accuracy. Vividness correlates with rehearsal and emotion, not truth. Another mistake: arguing meta-narratives as if they were details. You never listen masquerading as "you said X at 7:12." Keep those lanes separate. Argue details with evidence. Negotiate gist with curiosity. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Separate storage from story. Storage is the snapshot fragments you can anchor. Notes, photos, recordings with consent, checklists. Story is the meaning you make. When you keep storage clean, you can revise the story without warping the past. When storage is thin, story colonizes everything. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Each recall is a new edit. Every time you tell the tale, you're reauthoring it under current conditions. That's power if you use it wisely. Healing reframes, clearer boundaries, kinder self-talk. But it's dangerous if you use it to cement false certainty. Up next, we'll move from theory to practice with a live glitch lab. 3 quick tests that let you watch your meaning flip, your features fade, and your details morph in real time. Live glitch lab, 3-minute reality tests. We've talked theory. Now you'll watch your brain edit in real time. 3 micro tests. Each takes about a minute. Do them, don't just listen, because the aha lives in the doing. Test 1, the context swap. Grab a scrap of paper or your notes app. Write this ambiguous sentence. They saw her. Duck. Don't analyze it yet. Now, silently prime yourself with the word bird. Say it once in your head. Bird. Read the sentence. Most people experience a bird ducking. Now clear your mind. Prime with the word danger. Read it again. Suddenly duck flips to a verb. Someone is lowering their head. Same letters, different world. That's your prediction setting the meaning. For a third pass, prime with pet or park and see if you get a new angle. Maybe it's a pet duck. The point isn't the right reading. It's that your experience collapses to the version your context funds. Log it. Prime word interpretation, any felt certainty. You'll notice the certainty feels the same, even when the meaning changes. Confidence tracks coherence, not truth. Now test 2, attention swap. Find a small object with edges, a sticker on your laptop, a photo, a spot on the wall. Stare at a single point in the center without shifting your eyes for 30 to 45 seconds. Keep breathing normally. As you hold still, notice what happens to the edges in your peripheral vision. Colors desaturate, features blur. Sometimes parts of the object feel like they fade or smear. That fading is a Troxler-like effect. Unchanging signals in your periphery get deprioritized, so your subjective world literally loses them. You didn't lose morality or willpower. Your measurement dropped precision on static input. Now, while still staring, expand attention to include the room's ambient sounds for 10 seconds. HVAC, distant traffic, your own breath. Notice how the visual snap returns a bit when you widen the measurement. Then narrow again. You can feel reality sharpen and melt based on where you fund precision. Log it. Fixation time. What faded? What returned when you shifted scope? Test 3. Memory swap. Think of a bland, recent interaction. Ordering coffee, a quick check-in, a short errand. Tell the story out loud, but label it annoying. Keep it to 30 seconds. It was annoying because... Notice which details you pick. The wait, the sigh, the glitchy card reader. Now pause. Retell the exact same event, but label it kind. It was kind because... Suddenly you recall the barista's smile, the extra napkin, the have a good one. You're not forcing it. Your recall system is sampling data that fits the current frame. Count how many details changed across versions. The event didn't shift. Your selection and weighting did. That's post-event editing meeting active priors in real time. Log it. Initial label, alternate label, overlapping facts, divergent facts. Which version felt more true? How to log results in a way you'll actually keep doing this week. Make a simple template in your notes called glitch log. 4 fields: timestamp, conditions, input, outcome. Timestamp, date and time. Conditions, location, state, tired, hungry, rushed, calm. Input, the prime word you used, the fixation target, or the initial story label. Outcome, what flipped, what faded, what morphed, plus a confidence rating from 1 to 5. Keep each entry under 3 lines. The goal is reps, not essays. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Use the precision slider phrase before reacting. Ask, what else could this be? Say it out loud if you can. It takes 2 seconds and instantly lowers the precision you've allocated to your current story, creating room for one alternative signal. In a text that stings, it buys you a question mark instead of a period. In a meeting, it buys you a breath instead of a verdict. Small move, large effect. Now, you might be thinking, these changes are tiny. Does this really matter? That's the mistake. The tiny shifts are the mechanism. The same machinery that flips duck or fades a picture is what interprets your partner's tone, your boss's silence, your own inner voice. Scale it up over hundreds of moments a day, and you get drastically different lives. Dismissing the micro is how we stay trapped in macro patterns. Common pitfalls as you run these tests this week. 1. Rushing the prime. Give yourself a full second to load the word before reading the sentence. The flip depends on the prior actually taking hold. 2. Blinking or darting your eyes during the fixation. Movement refreshes the signal and prevents the fade. That's fine for comfort, but it hides the effect. 3. Turning the memory test into self-blame. I'm making things up. You're not lying, you're reconstructing. The fix is to separate storage from story and keep both flexible. Here's a quick extension if you want to feel the social version. During a conversation, silently label the vibe cooperative for 1 minute and notice what rises. Then, for the next minute, label it misaligned. Don't change your behavior, just observe. You'll feel your attention reconfigure. Same words, different highlights. That sensation is the cognitive observer effect landing in real life. If you remember nothing else from this lab, remember this. Your experience is adjustable in the moment by shifting context, attention, and narrative tags. These aren't hacks to deny reality. They're handles to measure it better. Once you see the flips, the fades, and the morphs, you can stop treating first takes as final truth and start steering on purpose. Next, we'll channel that control into ethics and skill. How to rewrite responsibly without slipping into manipulation. Rewriting reality responsibly, ethics and skill. Now that you've seen the glitch live, let's talk responsibility. You can use this to open choice, or you can use it to bend people. The ethical line is simple. Aim the tools inward for clarity and compassion. Don't deploy them to override someone else's consent or perception. Self-directed reappraisal, not coercion. Why this matters? Once you know how attention, priors, and memory shape experience, you can justify almost any story. I'm just reframing can become, I'm ignoring harm. The guardrail is truth-seeking over comfort-seeking. If a reframe makes you feel better but collapses evidence, it's not wisdom, it's denial. If a reframe widens choices and survives external checks, use it. Here's the ethical frame. First, agency. Each person owns their measurement. You can offer context, you can't set their precision for them. Second, transparency. If you're influencing a frame in a shared decision, name it. Here's a different way to look at this. Let's check it. Third, verifiability. Prioritize claims that can be tested against time, data, or third-party observation. How do you do this in practice? You design priors through language, environment, and timing on yourself. Language first. Words are precision dials. Swap absolute terms for probability ranges. I'm 60% sure beats, I know. Replace threat frames with load frames when appropriate. I'm under attack triggers defensive patterns. I'm under load preserves agency. Same stress, different options. Environment next. Subtle cues nudge attention. Clear desks reduce noise. Visible checklists externalize memory. Natural light and wider visual fields reduce tunnel focus. If you have a charged conversation, choose a space that supports wide attention. Side-by-side walking can loosen premature closure compared to face-to-face confrontation. Timing matters. Exhausted brains harden priors. Hungry brains overweigh negative signals. If stakes are high, wait for a state that can handle nuance. This isn't procrastination. It's choosing a measurement window that won't fake certainty. Let's put structure to it with a simple protocol. Cube, reframe, rehearse, reality check, iterate. Cue, catch the trigger. You feel a spike of certainty, anger, or dread. Label it. Glitch risk. Reframe. Generate a viable alternate story, not a fairy tale. They're disrespecting me becomes they're overloaded. Or, I don't have all the context yet. Keep it plausible. Rehearse. Embody the new prior for 20 seconds. Breathe slower. Soften your gaze. Ask a single open question you'd ask if the reframe were true. This primes attention to sample different signals. Reality check. Seek one disconfirming data point and one confirming data point for each story. That forces symmetric sampling instead of cherry picking. Iterate. Update the precision, choose a next action, and revisit if new evidence arrives. Light touch, low ego. Microstory. A client's inner language in conflict was, I'm under attack. Their body obliged, shoulders up, jaw tight, clipped tone. We replaced it with, I'm under load. Same sensations, different narrative. Under load, they could ask, what's one thing that would lighten this? Their physiology shifted, breath deeper, face softer. Result: fewer escalations, faster problem solving. The situation didn't magically improve. The measurement did, and behavior followed. Now, guardrails to keep this clean. 1. Don't gaslight yourself. When facts are painful, missed deadlines, broken promises, own them. Use external markers, timestamps, written commitments, third-party notes. 2. Don't outsource ethics to vibes. A soothing interpretation that contradicts evidence is still wrong. 3. Don't weaponize uncertainty to avoid action. "We can't be sure" isn't a license to stall when stakes demand a move. Decide with stated probabilities and review dates. Here's a simple language kit you can apply today. Replace always/never with often/seldom. Replace is with seems when talking about motives. Add timestamps. Right now, I'm reading this as add precision. I'm 55% leaning toward add test plans. If by Friday X happens, I'll update toward Y. These tweaks lower unearned certainty and invite better data. Actually, let me back up and name a common trap: reframing too early. If you reframe before regulating state, your nervous system won't buy it. First regulate, then reframe. A 20-second physiological sigh. Double inhale through the nose, longer exhale through the mouth, drops arousal. Then widen your visual field for 10 seconds. Now your brain can fund a new prior without fighting. Perceived threat. Design your environment for ethical defaults. Put a precision checklist where you make decisions. What am I amplifying? What am I ignoring? What else could this be? What would change my mind? Add a disconfirm before decide, sticky note to your monitor. Preload questions that future you will be glad present you asked. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Make reframes small and testable. "They hate me" to "they're distracted today" is small, testable by one question. "This project is doomed" to "we've got a scope mismatch" invites a scoping conversation. Big cosmic reframes feel inspiring and rarely change behavior. Tiny pragmatic reframes change meetings. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Use these levers to increase contact with reality, not distance from it. Aim them first at your own perception. Pair them with external checks, and state your confidence like a scientist. Do that, and you'll rewrite responsibly. Less drama, more agency, better outcomes. Next, we'll turn this ethics-first approach into daily practices you can actually keep. Daily practices. Train attention, update priors. Insight's nice. Skill comes from reps. Let's build a routine that's light, repeatable, and actually changes how your brain measures reality. For practices, plus a 2-minute reset you'll use before high-stakes talks. Keep it simple, trackable, and small enough that you don't skip it. Practice 1. Attention reps. Once or twice a day, run a 30-second sensory scan. Pick one sense per rep. Vision. Name one new detail you've never noticed in this room. Scratches on your mug, the subtle gradient on the wall. Hearing. List 2 ambient sounds you usually ignore. Touch. Locate 3 contact points: feet, chair, fabric. Smell or taste. 1 note, even if it's neutral. Then add a micro-meaning check. What changed about my mood after noticing this? You're training the precision dial to widen on command and to register faint but relevant signals. Common mistake is turning this into meditation perfectionism. Aim for imperfect, quick reps. Consistency beats depth here. Practice 2. The weekly prior audit. Every Friday, write 5 assumptions you acted on this week. Use prompts about a person, a project, your body, your future. Next to each, add a confidence percentage. Then run disconfirmations. Gather one piece of data that pushes against each assumption. An email that was kinder than your story, a metric that improved despite your doubt, a colleague who followed through. Don't argue, log. Finally, update confidence by 10 points up or down. The thing most people miss is that priors rarely need flipping, they need tuning. 10-point nudges keep you learning without identity whiplash. Practice 3. Language hygiene. Words set precision. For 1 week, swap certainty words with probabilities. Replace no with I'm 70% sure. Replace is about motives with seems. Add time bounds, right now and so far. Pair every judgment with a test. If X by Tuesday, I'll update toward Y. The reason this works is social. People relax around calibrated language, give you richer data, and you update faster. Track by jotting 3 phrases you reworded each day. If you keep nothing else, keep this. Confidence as a percentage plus a test plan. Practice 4. Sleep anchoring. Before bed, journal 2 short lists, facts and feelings. Facts are externally checkable. Times, counts, exact phrases you captured, objective outcomes. Feelings are your states and interpretations. 3 to 5 bullets per column, 2 or 3 minutes tops. This reduces overnight memory drift by giving your brain stable scaffolding to consolidate. Don't turn this into a diary dump, keep it skeletal. If you miss a night, don't guilt spiral, just pick it up the next evening. Quick win for difficult conversations. The 2-minute precision reset. Step 1. Physiological sigh. 2 short inhales through the nose, 1 long exhale through the mouth, repeated 3 times. Step 2. Widen your visual field for 10 seconds. Soften your gaze until you can sense the room edges. Step 3. Ask yourself, what else could this be? And generate 2 plausible alternatives. Step 4. Set a probability for each story and 1 question you'll ask to test them. 2 minutes, then go in. You've lowered unearned certainty, boosted measurement, and made your nervous system a better observer. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds like a lot. It isn't when you batch it. Stack attention reps onto anchors you already do. After you sit down at your desk, scan. When you make coffee, scan. When you lock your phone, scan. Do the prior audit during your calendar review. Litter your environment with tiny prompts. A sticky note that says AIM, amplify, ignore, merge, on your monitor, a home screen widget with what else, on your phone. Common pitfalls and fixes. Pitfall, chasing novelty over consistency. Fix, pick 2 practices for 30 days, attention reps and language hygiene, then add others. Pitfall, using the audit to self-attack. Fix, score behaviors not worth. I set this prior to 80%, and it should have been 50%, is a calibration note, not a character judgment. Pitfall, trying to outthink exhaustion. Fix, move the body first, stand, stretch, sip water, then update priors. Actually, let me give you a micro schedule you can steal. Morning, 1 30-second sensory, scan while your computer boots. Midday, language hygiene, write 1 email with probability and test language. Late afternoon, 2-minute precision reset before a meeting. Evening, sleep anchoring, 3 facts, 3 feelings. Friday, prior audit, 5 assumptions, 10-point updates. That's under 10 minutes most days, 15 on Fridays. If you remember nothing else from this section, remember this. Skill beats insight. Train attention to widen on cue. Treat beliefs as dials, not identities, and keep memory anchored. Tiny reps, daily, will outpace any single breakthrough. Next, when the pressure spikes, stress hijacks precision. So we'll install a state-first protocol that keeps your measurement honest under threat. Stress, threat, and the glitch amplifier. Stress doesn't just feel bad. It rewires how you measure reality in the moment. Under threat, your brain narrows attention, hardens priors, and closes loops early. That's efficient for survival. Fewer options, faster action. It's also how misunderstandings escalate. When the body flags danger, your perceptual system funds the protect now story with extra precision, even if the data is thin. Here's what's happening under the hood. The amygdala biases your system toward loss prevention. Signals that hint at risk get amplified. Neutral or positive cues get discounted. This produces tunnel attention. Your spotlight tightens to whatever looks most relevant to the perceived threat. Tone of voice, a frown, an unread message. Meanwhile, weak but important signals, context, intent, base rates, drop below awareness. The result is premature closure. You collapse on the first plausible threat interpretation and stop sampling. Now here's where most people mess up. They try to outthink adrenaline. When your physiology is lit, your cortex plays catch-up. You can repeat, "it's fine," and still scan for danger because your body is telling your brain what reality is. The fix isn't clever thoughts. It's a state shift first, then cognition. Change the body's settings, and the measurement system widens again. Quick win. The physiological side plus an external orienting checklist. Do 1 double inhale through the nose, a normal inhale, then a quick top-off inhale, followed by a long exhale through the mouth. Repeat 2 to 3 times. This reduces CO2 and downshifts arousal fast. Immediately follow with a 60-second orient. Name 5 external objects, 4 colors, 3 sounds, 2 textures, 1 scent. This forces attention outward and broadens the visual field. As your gaze softens and breath lengthens, the precision you've allocated to the threat story drops just enough to let competing data in. Actually, let me back up and name the pattern you'll feel. Under stress, you get 3 stacked distortions: magnification, threat cues loom; minimization, safety cues shrink; and merging, separate signals get glued into a single story. They're against me. Recognizing this triad in your own system is half the battle. When you catch magnify, minimize, merge, label it. Glitch amplifier. Labels give you just enough distance to run the reset. A microstory to make this concrete. A manager sees a terse slack from their director. We need to talk. Heart rate jumps, shoulders rise, vision tunnels onto worst-case scenarios. Their prior, I'm in trouble, spikes to 90% precision. They start composing defenses. They run the psi plus orient. 60 seconds later, they widen attention and notice the calendar is packed because of a board review. They drop the prior to 55%, send one clarifying question. Is this about the Q3 deck or staffing? Reply, deck need a slide. Without the state shift, they would have walked into the call armored, inviting a tense exchange that fulfilled the threat story. Before we continue, you need to understand negativity weighting. In uncertain contexts, negative cues carry more weight because missing a threat is costlier than missing a reward. That bias is adaptive in wilderness, not so much in email. You won't erase it, you'll account for it. Practically, that means requiring 2 independent negative signals before acting defensively in non-urgent situations. One frown isn't enough. Pair it with behavior and context. Common mistakes. 1. Labeling your stress response as weakness. It's design, not defect. 2. Jumping to reframe without regulating. Your nervous system won't buy a new story while you're braced. 3. Overcorrecting by trying to stay wide-focused during tasks that need a narrow beam. The goal is flexible switching. Narrow to act, widen to check, then back. Here's a protocol you can run anytime stakes rise. State scope sample. State. Run the physiological psi 3 times. Scope. Widen your visual field for 10 seconds. Soft eyes, senses on the room. Sample. Collect one cue that supports your current story and one that contradicts it. If you can't find a disconfirming cue, ask a 5-word clarifier. What's top of mind? Or can you say more? That single question often prevents days of cleanup. If you remember nothing else from this section, remember this. Under stress, your body funds certainty your data can't afford. Shift state first, then measure again. Most person problems shrink once the glitch amplifier powers down. Shared reality, group priors, and collective perception. Here's why this matters beyond your own head. Reality is social. Groups set priors together, and once those are in place, a community's attention and memory synchronize. What feels like truth is often a shared lens, reinforced by language, rituals, and the feeds we scroll. When the lens tightens, whole groups collapse ambiguity early, and then defend the collapse as identity. The thing most people miss is how quickly social proof becomes a precision amplifier. If people you trust highlight a detail, your brain boosts gain on that detail before you even see it. Think of it like borrowed certainty. You inherit their confidence, then experience it as your own perception. That's how rumors, hot takes, and even well-meaning FYIs steer attention. Let me show you exactly how echo chambers form. Start with selection. Algorithms learn what keeps you engaged and serve more of it. Your attention locks onto patterns you already value. Next comes repetition. You hear the same frame from many voices. Repetition feels like corroboration, even when sources are copying each other. Finally comes identity binding. Agreeing becomes belonging. Disagreeing risks exclusion. Once belief equals membership, updating the model feels like betrayal. That's group polarization. Positions drift toward extremes as members compete to signal loyalty. Language is the glue. Phrases like "real ones know," "we all see it," or "that's just facts" collapse nuance and mark insiders from outsiders. Rituals, weekly calls, slogans, memes, comment habits become training for attention. We rehearse what to notice, what to ignore, and how to merge disparate cues into a single narrative. Over time, group memory edits itself to fit the storyline. The outlier event gets reframed as never happened. The inconvenient quote becomes taken out of context, and the clean narrative survives. Quick win you can try today: the 3rd viewpoint drill. Take a topic your group cares about. For 5 minutes, steelman the best opposing view. State it in a way that the other side would say, "Yes, that's our point." Then list one test that, if it failed, would weaken your side's confidence. This isn't betrayal, it's calibration. You're increasing the precision of incoming data by widening the sampling field. Before we continue, you need to understand belonging versus belief. Belonging is a primary need. Belief is a tool. When we fuse them, we stop updating because updates threaten connection. The guardrail is to separate people from propositions. Keep friends, update models. You can hold affection and still adjust the prior. Practically, that means saying, I'm with you, and I'm 60% on this claim, pending X. Now here's where most people mess up. They try to deprogram, others with data dumps. That backfires because it attacks identity, not just information. The better move is shared measurement. Ask, what evidence would move you 5 points? Then offer to check it together. When you co-measure, you shift the social cost from betrayal to collaboration. Suddenly updating feels like teamwork, not exile. A micro-story to make this real. A team I coached split over a product delay. One camps prior. Engineering is sloppy. The other, product keeps changing scope. Meetings were battles of anecdotes. We ran a shared audit, pulled commit history, change requests, and meeting notes, then graphed cycle time by week. Both priors softened. Precision redistributed from blame to process. Handoffs were the bottleneck. Once the group saw the same signals together, language shifted from you always to when requirements change after design freeze, cycle time jumps. Alignment followed because measurement aligned. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Create group rituals that reward updating. Try a weekly 2% shift round. Each person names one belief they moved 2 points and why. Small shifts normalize learning and protect identity. Add disconfirm before decide to team checklists. One countersignal logged per major decision. These tiny mechanics prevent premature collapse at the group level. Guardrails so this stays ethical. 1. Don't use "we're just testing" as cover to stall action. Set timebox tests and pre-commit to decisions when thresholds are met. 2. Don't conflate civility with accuracy. Polite repetition of a wrong claim is still wrong. 3. Don't outsource your priors entirely to the group. Shared reality is a tool, not a replacement for personal responsibility. Actually, let me back up and give you a simple model you can remember. LRA, language, rituals, algorithms. Language sets frames. Rituals practice attention. Algorithms reinforce patterns. If a group is drifting, adjust in that order. Change words to reopen options. Change meetings to sample better signals. Change inputs to diversify evidence. LRA is your lever map. If you remember nothing else from this section, remember this. Groups don't just share information, they share measurement settings. When you align how you measure, conflict drops without anyone losing. Separate belonging from belief, install updating rituals, and argue the best version of the other side. Do that, and shared reality becomes a place to learn, not a battleground. Spiritual angle without woo, meaning, presence, agency. You came here for depth, so let's go there without drifting into wishful thinking. The spiritual angle, done cleanly, is about meaning, presence, and agency, and each maps directly onto the mechanics you've learned. Presence is precise measurement. Meaning is the model that organizes your predictions. Agency is the capacity to update the model and act on the update. Why does this matter? Because when prediction drives perception, you can live inside yesterday's story. Spiritual practice, stripped of mystique, is training your nervous system to notice reality before the story hardens. Not to deny pain or bypass difficulty, but to let better data in. Presence lowers noise. Values clarify priors. Action tests what you think you know. Let's start with presence. In spiritual language, presence means meeting this moment as it is. In our terms, presence is attention without overcommit priors. When you're present, you widen the precision dial just enough to sample what's actually happening: breath, posture, tone, colors, the feeling of your feet, before collapsing into a narrative. It's not zoning out. It's measuring first, interpreting second. That's why simple contemplative practices work. They cut rumination and boost signal quality. Actually, let me back up and ground this. Try 5 slow breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth, counting each exhale to 4. On each exhale, name one sensation: warmth in your hands, sound of the room, weight on the chair, stretch in your ribs, light on the wall. That's presence as precise measurement. You're training attention to amplify raw inputs that don't confirm any particular story. After 30 seconds, your physiology downshifts. and the model you were about to force onto the moment loosens. Now, meaning. Meaning isn't a cosmic secret handed to you. It's the map that makes your predictions coherent. If your meaning map says, "I'm alone against the world," your priors favor threat and your life matches. If your map says, "I'm here to serve one honest value," your priors bias for opportunities to express that value. Values are not slogans, they're constraints on prediction. Choose a value: truth, care, craft, courage, and watch how it clarifies which signals deserve precision. In mess, values decide faster and cleaner than vibes. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Pick one value for the quarter. Not 5. 1. Write it on a card. This quarter, truth. Then translate it into a measuring question you can use daily. What would I notice if truth mattered more than comfort right now? Ask it before you speak, ship, or decide. You'll feel attention snap to different cues, timestamps, sources, the sentence you're about to hedge. Meaning becomes measurable. Agency is where spirituality often gets vague. Let's make it practical. Agency is not control over outcomes. It's control over precision allocation and next action. You can't force the world, but you can choose when to widen, when to narrow, and what small move to test a new model. That's prayer minus metaphysics, a focused intention that changes your measurement and then your behavior. The universe doesn't shift because you wished. Your sampling shifts because you aimed. Microstory. On day 3 of a silent retreat, my prediction machine finally ran out of entertainment. Without phones, conversation, or caffeine spikes, the system softened. I was walking a gravel path at dusk and realized I was seeing light as light, not evening means I'm behind on email. The scene stopped being a to-do list backdrop and became colors, temperature, and breath. 2 minutes later, the old model crept back in, but now I could feel the reattachment happen. That experience didn't prove anything mystical. It proved how fast attention binds the world to a story, and how presence can loosen the glue. A common mistake is using spirituality to bypass reality checks. Everything happens for a reason can become, I don't have to measure. Don't do that. The ethical frame still holds. Truth-seeking over comfort. If a practice makes you kinder and more accurate, keep it. If it makes you confident without evidence, drop it. Presence should sharpen perception, not dull it. Quick win you can use today. Do 5 breaths, name 5 sensations, then choose the tiniest kind action available. Send a thank you sentence, refill someone's water, tidy 1 square foot, fix a typo. Why this works? Kindness is an immediate, testable hypothesis about meaning. It reallocates precision toward relational signals and gives your system a small success loop that doesn't depend on grand outcomes. Agency grows by reps of tiny, value-aligned acts. Before we continue, you might be thinking, what about surrender? Surrender isn't passivity. It's dropping rigid priors when the data won't support them. It sounds spiritual. It's Bayesian. You set your story to provisional and let reality move your percentage. Surrender is the opposite of resignation. It's disciplined updating. You surrender the fantasy of certainty to gain contact with truth. Here's a simple daily rhythm to keep this grounded. Morning, pick your value and 1 measuring question. Midday, run a 60-second presence check. Breath, sensations, widen visual field, ask the question. Evening, log 1 moment you updated a prior and 1 tiny action you took. That's spirituality as a practice of measurement, meaning, and movement. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Presence improves measurement, values shape priors, and agency runs the update loop. Do those 3, and your spiritual life stops being floating ideas and becomes a way of seeing and acting that holds up under pressure. Next, we'll turn this into a field guide you can run in 5 steps when the stakes spike. Field guide, the 5-stage reality reset. When stakes spike, theory won't save you. A repeatable reset will. 5 stages under 5 minutes. State, scope, signal, story, seal. Run it end to end when you feel certainty, anger, or dread jump. You're not trying to be calm. You're trying to become a better measuring instrument before you act. Stage 1, state. Regulate physiology so your system can update. Do 1 physiological sigh. Inhale through the nose, then a top-off sip of air, long exhale through the mouth. Repeat twice. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and widen your visual field so you can sense room edges. If you're standing, plant your feet and soften your knees. If sitting, lengthen your spine and let your hands rest palm down. This is the open the sensor move. You're lowering arousal, just enough to stop premature closure. 30 seconds, tops. Stage 2 scope. Widen attention to prevent a narrow, biased collapse. Ask, what are 3 alternative interpretations? Aim for plausible, not rosy. Example, they're disrespecting me. They're overloaded. I missed part of the context. If you can't find 3, borrow 1 from base rates. Most delays are logistics, not malice. Write them down if you can, or say them quietly. The act of generating options redistributes precision away from your favorite story. 10 to 20 seconds. Stage 3 signal. Go get disconfirming and confirming data on purpose. Ask 1 clarifying question that could move you 5 points either way. Keep it short and neutral. What's top of mind? Is now a bad time? Which part is priority? Also, look for a second, independent cue supporting your current read. 2 signals, not 1. If none appear, drop your confidence 10 points. The thing most people miss is that disconfirmation needs a channel. You have to invite it. 30 to 60 seconds if you're in a live exchange. Otherwise, scan written traces or recent actions for a single counterexample. Stage 4 story. Rewrite language from certainty to curiosity and set explicit probabilities. Swap they are X for right now it seems X. Add a percentage and a test. I'm 60% that scope shifted. If we confirm the deadline stayed, I'll update down. This changes how your brain weights incoming data and how others respond to you. Deliver 1 sentence in this calibrated frame before launching into arguments. Yes, it feels awkward the first few times. That's your status drive protesting. Do it anyway. Stage 5 seal. Take a micro-action that tests the new model fast. 1 small move, low risk, short feedback loop. Send a 2-line check-in. Quick sync, 2 bullets I'm seeing. Tell me if I've got it wrong. Walk over and ask 1 timely question. Change 1 calendar block to reflect your updated understanding and notify stakeholders. The seal matters because action locks the reset into behavior. Without it, you drift back to the old collapse out of habit. Let's run a full example. You get a terse message. Need to talk about your deck. Your stomach drops. Stage 1, state. 3 physiological sighs, widen gaze, loosen jaw. Stage 2 scope, 3 reads. I messed up. They want a different angle. They're nervous about their boss. Stage 3 signal, ping back. Is this content direction or timing? Also check the calendar and previous thread. You see their review moved earlier. Stage 4 story. I'm 55% that we need a shift in the narrative. If it's timing, I'll update. Stage 5 seal. Draft a 1-slide alternative framing and bring it to the chat. You exit the loop in under 3 minutes, body steadier, mind flexible, and with a concrete probe ready. Now a few advanced moves that speed things up. Pair state with setting. If possible, move physically. Stand, step into a hallway, or look out a window for 10 seconds. Changing visual input widens scope faster than thought alone. During scope, use categories. Internal, external, unknown. 1 interpretation from each keeps you balanced. For signal, pre-stock neutral questions you trust under pressure, written on a note near your workstation. For story, keep a small set of boilerplate phrases. Right now, seems. I'm X%. If Y, I'll update. The repetition makes it automatic. For seal, predefine your default microaction per context. In conflict, ask 1 curiosity question. In logistics, timebox a check. In creative work, produce a quick alt version. Common mistakes and fixes. Mistake, skipping state because you don't have time. Fix, a single sigh is 6 seconds. You do have time. Mistake, generating fantasy alternatives. Fix, demand plausibility anchored in base rates. Mistake, turning signal into interrogation. Fix, 1 clear question, open tone. Mistake, making story poetic or vague. Fix, numbers and tests. Mistake, sealing with a grand gesture. Fix, smallest move that returns data today. You might be thinking, won't this make me sound unsure? It makes you sound precise. Calibrated confidence increases trust. People relax, give you better inputs, and decisions improve. Over weeks, your team will mirror the language, and you'll see fewer flare-ups and cleaner handoffs. 1 more micro-story. A founder I coached kept labeling investor emails as hostile. We installed the reset. Their stage 2 alternative became, they're testing clarity under pressure. Stage 3 question. Is your main concern risk A or risk B? The tone of responses shifted instantly. Within a month, their close rate improved. Not because investors changed, but because measurement did, which changed language and choices. If you remember nothing else, remember the sequence. State comms the sensor, scope opens options, signal samples fairly, story calibrates language, seal tests reality. 5 moves, 5 minutes, massive reduction in false certainty. Run it whenever the stakes or emotions spike, and you'll collapse on better versions of reality, on purpose. Long-term rewiring, from traits to tools. You don't need a new personality, you need better defaults. Long-term change here isn't mystical. It's what happens when you install tiny processes that automatically set your precision, update your priors, and anchor memory before the story hardens. Do that long enough, and people think you've changed. You didn't swap your traits, you upgraded your tools. Why this matters? Traits feel fixed, so you tolerate misreads as that's just me. Tools make misreads optional. Over months, they stack into reduced reactivity, better inference, and kinder self-talk. You'll still feel spikes, but you'll collapse on fewer bad interpretations and recover faster when you do. The thing most people miss is that rewiring isn't about willpower, it's about friction. You change by lowering the effort to do the right thing at the right time. Think habit stacking, spaced repetition, and environment cues. Simple mechanics that turn precision, priors, and memory into a quiet system running under your day. Let's build it like an operating system. Layer 1, automatic state shifts. Your nervous system calls most of the shots. Install 2 reflexes until they're boring. The physiological sigh when you feel a spike, and the 60-second external orient when ambiguity rises. Pair them with anchors you already hit. Door handles, calendar pop-ups, coffee breaks. After a month, your body widens scope before your story locks in, without you deciding. Layer 2, scheduled updates. Priors drift unless you tune them. Use spaced repetition on the beliefs that cost you most, about a person, a project, your own capacity. Create a 2-minute weekly card set. 1 card per sticky prior with the sentence, I am currently X% on claim. What would move me 5 points? Review on Mondays for 2 minutes. That single recall keeps the model probabilistic, not dogmatic. Layer 3, language templates. You won't remember to speak precisely under pressure unless the sentences are pre-built. Make a tiny library you can paste or say. Right now it seems, I'm 60% leaning. If X by Friday, I'll update. What's top of mind? Store them in a Notes app, text expander, or on a sticky near your screen. Over time, calibrated language becomes your accent. People mirror it. Your environment feeds you better signals. Layer 4, environment cues. Your surroundings are the fastest coaching you can give yourself. Put a "what else could this be?" card on your monitor. Make your default doc template include a risks plus disconfirmers section. Use wide visual fields. A lamp behind your screen, a plant in peripheral view. Anything that prevents tunnel attention during long stretches. Clear your desk before hard conversations. Less visual noise, fewer premature collapses. Layer 5, accountability loops. We're social creatures, use that. Pick one person, friend, peer, coach, who agrees to a weekly 10-minute reality audit. You each bring one situation where your certainty ran hot. You must present one disconfirming cue you missed, and one update you'll test next week. Keep it short. The point isn't therapy, it's measurement hygiene in community. How does this translate into outcomes? Reduced reactivity shows up as shorter half-life on spikes. You'll still get jolted, but your baseline returns in minutes, not hours. Better inference shows up as fewer oops moments after meetings. Less cleanup because you ask the clarifier up front. Kinder self-talk shows up as precision on identity. Fewer global labels, more state-based reads, which opens action instead of shame spirals. Let me give you a micro-story from a student who committed to this for 30 days. Day 1, they were certain their team never listened. We didn't argue the label. We installed the OS, Sci Plus Orient on spikes, a 2-minute Monday prior check, 2 language templates, 1 accountability buddy. By week 2, they were adding. Right now, I'm 65% that we're misaligned on scope. That sentence unlocked clarifying questions instead of monologues. By week 4, they reported fewer spirals, clearer choices, more energy at night. Did their team transform? Not much. Measurement did, and small actions followed. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Change the unit of progress. Don't measure by emotion. I felt calm. Measure by mechanics. I ran the reset once. I logged 1 disconfirming cue. I used a percentage in 2 emails. Track reps, not vibes. Reps compound, vibes fluctuate. Pitfalls show up around week 3. You'll be tempted to chase novelty, new frameworks, new hacks, instead of maintaining the boring system that works. Resist. If you must tweak, do it like a scientist. 1 change, 1 week, observe. Another trap is perfectionism, treating misses as proof the system doesn't work. Misses are data. Note when the system failed to trigger and add a cue. Forgot the sigh? Put a tiny dot sticker on your keyboard. Missed the prior audit? Tie it to your calendar review. Let's talk metrics so you can see the arc. Use a weekly 1-page audit. 3 columns. Missed, caught, updated. Missed, where you collapsed too fast. Caught, where you noticed and widened. Updated, where you changed a percentage or language and sealed it with action. Aim for trend, not scores. You want missed to shrink a little, caught to rise, updated to stay steady. Add a monthly reflection. 1 belief that moved 10 points. 1 phrase that changed your interactions. 1 environmental tweak that paid off. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Durable change is logistics. Install state shifts, schedule updates, template language, tune environments, and enlist 1 human. Do that, and your traits will look new because your tools are running the show. Up next, we'll clean up the common mistakes that derail this work and the quick fixes that keep you moving. Common mistakes and fixes. Let's lock in the pitfalls that quietly wreck this work and the simple fixes that keep you moving. Think of these as calibration errors, not character flaws. Mistake 1. Turning this into control-freak perfectionism. You start measuring everything, everywhere, all at once, chasing the perfect read. That backfires because uncertainty is part of reality, and overmeasurement burns attention. Fix. Aim for 60% clarity. Literally say, good enough to act, easy to update. Then set a review point. You're optimizing for adaptiveness, not omniscience. Mistake 2. Using the model to gaslight yourself. You learn that memory edits and beliefs bias, and suddenly you doubt every painful signal because it might be my story. That's avoidance dressed as sophistication. Fix. Verify with external markers. Install a small triad: timestamp, artifact, witness. If a concern survives all 3, treat it as real enough to act on. You're not chasing certainty, you're honoring converging evidence. Mistake 3. Chasing novelty over consistency. New framework, new app, new journal spread. Meanwhile, 0 reps. Novelty is dopamine. Mastery is repetition. Fix. Pick 2 practices and track them for 30 days. I'd choose attention reps and language hygiene. Use a simple checkbox. If you want variety, rotate the context, not the practice. Scan in the kitchen Tuesday, at your desk Wednesday. Mistake 4. Bypassing emotion. You try to reframe while your nervous system is flaring, expecting a calm sentence to tame adrenaline. The body doesn't update under duress. Fix. Feel first, then frame. Run 1 physiological sigh. Widen your visual field. Name the top emotion in 2 words. Tight anger, sinking dread. And wait 1 breath. Then reframe. State before story. Mistake 5. Arguing narratives as if they're details. You never listen, gets logged like it's a transcript. That freezes both sides in global labels. Fix. Separate lanes, facts versus gist. Facts get artifacts, gist gets curiosity. Lead with 1 observable, then ask 1 question about meaning. It lowers defensiveness and raises signal quality. Mistake 6. Collapsing the moment to identity. I overreact, that's just me. Now you've cemented a trait instead of tweaking a dial. Fix. Shift from trait to tool. My precision collapsed today. I'll widen next time. The first traps you, the second trains you. Mistake 7. Trying to outthink exhaustion. You attempt audits and reframes when you're depleted, then conclude the system doesn't work. Fix. Sequence energy before cognition. Water. Stand, stretch, breathe, then measure. Tired brains overweigh threat and close too fast. Refuel, reopen. Mistake 8. Framing everything as threat to feel motivated. Yes, urgency gets attention, but constant threat hardens priors and narrows scope. Fix. Load frames more often than threat frames. Under load preserves agency. Under attack recruits armor. Use threat sparingly. Real danger, real speed. Mistake 9. Perfectionist logging. You try to write novels in your glitch log, so you stop logging. Fix. Enforce brevity. For fields, 3 lines max. Timestamp, conditions, input, outcome. If it takes longer than 60 seconds, You're doing analysis, not hygiene. Mistake 10. Treating percentages as performance. I should be at 50%. Now the dial is a morality scale. Fix. Treat percentages as bets. You're wagering attention, not proving virtue. Adjust 10 points at a time as data lands. Quick win that bails you out of most traps. The 10-minute delay rule. When in doubt, delay your decision 10 minutes. In those 10, do one sigh, widen your view, collect one disconfirming cue, and write one sentence with a percentage and a test. Then decide. You'll prevent a week of cleanup by spending 10 minutes measuring. Actually, let me back up and give you a tiny checklist to keep in your pocket. Pace. Provisional. Anchor. Check. Execute. Provisional. State your confidence with a percent. Anchor. Capture one artifact. Check. Ask one clarifying question or find one countersignal. Execute. Take the smallest testable step. Run pace once per thorny moment. It's boring, and it works. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Aim for 60% clarity, verify with markers, feel before you frame, and delay 10 minutes when stakes feel hot. These 4 moves neutralize most glitches and keep you practicing instead of spiraling. Next, we'll compress the whole model into a 1-page memory you can carry anywhere. 1-page summary, if you remember nothing else. Here's the essence. Why your brain lies. It's built for efficient survival, not perfect accuracy. It predicts first, samples later, and edits memories to keep the story running. That keeps you fast and sometimes wrong. What's happening under the hood? Attention selects what counts, beliefs bias what gets weighted, and memory rewrites to fit the current gist. That trio turns ambiguity into a single lived reality that feels certain. How to work with it? Test, reframe, verify, act. Run tiny experiments in real time. Update your confidence in percentages. Check for disconfirming data, and seal it with a micro-action. The practical model. Treat attention like an observer. Where you point it, and how narrowly or widely you fund precision, collapses many possibilities into one workable story. Keep the collapse provisional so updates are cheap. Your practice stack. Daily attention reps, weekly prior audits, clean language with probabilities, sleep anchoring for facts and feelings, and the 5-stage reset. State, scope, signal, story seal. Add ethical guardrails. Truth-seeking over comfort, external markers over vibes. The payoff. More agency because you can steer measurement. Less misread pain because you delay premature closure. Clearer meaning because values set your priors instead of fear. Over time, reactivity drops, inference improves, and your relationships breathe. If you remember nothing else, remember this phrase. Provisional, then precise. Measure first, collapse lightly, verify, and move. Key takeaway. Your mind constructs reality with attention, priors, and memory. Calibrate those levers and your experience upgrades fast. Try the 3-minute test today, then run the 5-stage reset once this week. Subscribe for more, and watch the advanced cognitive bias breakdown next to sharpen your calibration even further. End here, practice there.